So you love playing solo board games, but you also want some family games in your library. Is it possible to combine those two? Absolutely. I have picked out 10 family games that come with strong solo modes, tested out by yours truly. Let's check them out. Howdy and welcome. I'm Mike from Board Games for One, your board gaming every dude, and let's check out our very first game. So we've got Duffers here. Duffers is a 1 to 4 player game by TGG Games, designed by Dwayne Wheatcroft. And this is cool. It's just a golf-inspired deck game. So if you're playing with your family, up to the 4 players, you have little greens laid out, and you are playing your cards from your clubs and your putts and all that in order to get the right amount of feet to get the hole. And you get so many points per hole. Golf scoring. Whoever has the right amount of points wins the game. If you're playing solitaire, if you've ever played basic card solitaire, you can play this because that's what the solo mode is. It's basic card solitaire that's modified slightly to make for a fun game where you're trying to make it into different holes. When you're playing multiplayer, it's like 6 to 9 holes. And when you're playing solo, I believe it's 3 to 6 holes, maybe 6 holes from when I played, from my few plays. About 60 to 90 minutes. Right now it's going for $20 or less on the TGG Games website. You can get it at your local game store as well. Ready? Next game. And we're doing this in order of smallest to biggest. So next up, we've got this fantastic little gem that I recently found, Explorers. Get it at your local game store. You can get it at big box stores as well. You can get this at Target if you don't have a game store near you. Explorers by Phil Walker Harding, published by Ravensburger. I love Ravensburger. I've been happy with, Horrified and Alien, all their little games, Jaws. Anyway, Explorers is great because it takes up very little table space. It's for 1 to 4 players, all 8 to 99 years old, and 20 minutes is actually accurate for the playtime. The solo game is about a 20-minute game, but you're laying out, we'll have the pictures running over you. You're laying out a little map that's different every time, so you've got varied levels of difficulty and replayability as well. But for the family game, each of you is drawing on a map, trying to explore and get points by traveling over certain icons, basically exploring the land. Whoever has the most points wins. When you're playing solo, you're simply limited by what you draw. You do not have an AI opponent. You're just limited by what you draw. Draw out your map, go along, super fun, 20 minutes. If you're ever sick and in the hospital, it fits on your hospital tray. Love it. Explorers is under $30 right now if you're looking at any stores. Next game. Parks by Keymaster Games, makers of camping creatures and all kinds of stuff, but Parks is really their big one. 1 to 5 players, ages 10 and up. 40 to 70 minutes playtime. It's retailing around $50-ish. You can get it at any game store is going to be carrying this, and some big box stores, probably Barnes & Noble maybe. Target has it, all those kinds of things. Alright, but anyway, in Parks, you play as a group of hikers, and you are hiking down various trails, taking pictures, collecting resources like water or light, anything like that, in order to get points. You get points by visiting national parks. The artwork is all of different national parks across, I believe it's just the United States. It might be North America. I'm pretty sure this one is just the United States. The art is beautiful. The solo play is actually a little more advanced compared to Explorers and Duffers. So you do have your own solo rules, but you do actually have an AI opponent, but they're more getting in your way. They're not actually scoring. So this is a beat your own score type of thing where you're just trying to get higher points each time. Enjoyed it. Next game. And if you're interested in some board game deals, I have an affiliate site, theperfectboardgame.com/boardgamesfor1, link in the description below. Come here and you'll see it'll say Board Games for One, sign up for price alerts. Just put in your email right in there, and what you will get is anytime a solo game, when there is a discount of 10% or more, I believe, then you'll get an email that that board game has gone down in price. SOS Titanic, what a work of art, what a beautiful game. 1 to 5 players by TGG Games as well. Plays in 25 minutes, ages 14 and up, and maybe that's just because of the theme, I'm not sure. The complexity doesn't add up to that. It's not a mature theme, but it is tragic. You are actually saving passengers from the Titanic, and you may not save everybody, so some of the characters die. But here's the thing, so whether you're playing at the highest player count of 5 players, I played at 2-player and at solo, it's a cooperative game. There's not a ton of interaction, so if you have a group that doesn't do well competitive, this would be a good pick for you, but there is some interaction. So each player has their own crew member, and their crew member has a special ability. Some of those special abilities allow you to interact with other players, but basically what you have is you have the ship laid out. It starts out fully above water, and each stage you turn the page and the ship sinks a little more, and you have more limited choices and limited actions. It plays like basic solitaire. So again, if you play basic solitaire, you can play this. It's just that you have the first class and second class passengers, which cannot share a line, and then you have to get that line over onto lifeboats in order to save them. The more people you save, the more points you get, and thematically super powerful. It's actually, so basically you have to save children first, then women, then men. If you move say the women to the lifeboat first, you can't save the children. If you move the men to the lifeboat first, you can't save the women and the children. You have tough choices to make. But SOS Titanic, it plays exactly the same solo as it does multiplayer. It is a beat your own score. Don't worry, if you like AI opponents, I have those coming. But beat your own score is fine. It's done well for SOS Titanic. Next game. Oh, hold on, I forgot. So SOS Titanic retails for about $35 right now on the TGG Games website. You can also get it at your local game store. Next one is a big hitter. This is a popular game. I'm sure you know of it. Pandemic. It's in every store, everywhere. This is the base game that started it all. It is only 2 to 4 players, but it's a cooperative game. What's the ages that they put on here? Ages 8 and up. I think it's a little complex for an 8-year-old, but you know, whatever. 45-minute playtime sounds about right. But if you want to play this solo, you can. You just have to control 2 hands. Now there's a solo variant out there. You can Google Pandemic solo mode and download it. I'm just focusing on what you get if you buy the box, open it up, and you go, okay? So there is a more solo variant if you like, but basically you play with 2 hands, plays exactly the same as multiplayer. You're just controlling 2 hands if you want to go solo. If you don't know about Pandemic, what it is it is a game where you are putting out fires, right? So you're going to have a board with viruses breaking out in different places, and you play as different specialists like the CDC, that kind of thing, where you are trying to contain outbreaks. If you don't contain them as they burst out all over this board, then you lose the game. You win the game by completing objectives. So you might have 3 or 4 missions that you need to complete working cooperatively together. This runs about, I believe if there's no discounts, I think it's around the $50 range, but usually you can find discounts and clearances and things like that. Game stores and pretty much every big box store out there will also have it. That's Pandemic. Alright, so this next one's a little more unusual, just in that you're not going to find this at a big box store right now. Honey Buzz. It's a little harder to find right at the moment, but Honey Buzz Expansion Fall Flavors, I believe, gets released this year. Please correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm expecting to see base game available for that as well. So check your local game stores about Honey Buzz's availability. I'm hoping to see it available, so I'm featuring it. As a family game, though, I'm going to tell you right now, you're going on the heavier side with this one. So yes, it's a medium weight game, but don't let the cutesy theme deceive you. This game has excellent graphic design, so it's easy to follow and to learn to read once you learn it, but it is a puzzle. You're building a honeycomb as a puzzle to function as an engine while also taking worker placement actions. It's an economy game. There's a lot of stuff going on here. If you like a nice, strong, beautiful, nature, serene kind of theme, this is the game for you. It's 1 to 4 players, 45 to 90 minutes, definitely closer to the 90 minutes, ages 10 and up. If you're playing the solo mode, it is a beat your own score game. So your AI opponent is not collecting any points. They are just there to get in your way. You are creating a honeycomb to produce honey while sending bees out to collect pollen as well to produce your honey, and sending your worker bees to do stuff so you can sell everything on the market. It's a lot going on, but man, I love this game. I love this game. I love this game. That's it. Retail is somewhere like 35 to 45. I'm gonna say 45 to be safe. With the production quality in here is, I mean, it's unbelievable. Elf Creek Games, top notch. Whatever, next game. Available at game stores and your big box stores. I know it's available at Target right now. Juicy Fruits, and there's a nice playthrough of this over on Antlab Games, I believe, other places as well, designed by Christian Store. And this one is 1 to 4 players, ages 10 and up, 20 to 50 minutes. I would say more closer to the 50 minutes, as always, and it's roughly around $40. I believe it's $39.99, something like that retail. And I'll say right up front, the art isn't necessarily the most beautiful. It's kind of old school. This is like playing an old school Euro with a fun Juicy Fruits theme. So the artwork is not gonna blow you away, but it's bright and colorful and happy. And man, this is a Euro. So if you want a Euro game with your family that you can also play solo, and you do have a solo opponent that is actually gaining points. So hey, this is great. You can actually learn a solo AI if you play Juicy Fruits. And what it is you have a little island, and you have tokens on this island that you slide around to gain resources. So if I want to get bananas, I have to be able to shuffle the banana tile all the way over. 2 spaces, I get 2 bananas. 3 spaces, so you're doing this like shuffle game, and as you add tiles, you can move less, but you also have more options in order to gain as many fruits as possible, and also like fruit stands and ice cream stands, things like that, to collect points. Person with the most points wins. If you're playing with your family, obviously you each have your own board that you're building up, and if you're playing solo, your solo opponent is going around like a pier track with little boats on it that they're not just interfering, they are collecting points. So, it's a fun little battle, Juicy Fruits. Check it out. Next one was a surprise hit for me, actually. Red Rising. The retail value is somewhere around $40, I believe, $40 to $50. Look, you can find this game for $20 now. And I didn't know what to expect from this. It's 45, 60 minutes, 1 to 6 players, ages 14 and up. It is Stonemaier, which means it's Atoma Factory for solo players. That's a great thing. As a family game though, it's a colorful card game based on the novels for Red Rising. You do not need to know the IP. You don't need to know the novels at all. If you do, if your kids read it, that is a plus. If you read it, that's awesome. The artwork goes with it, but you don't need to know a thing. It is a card game where you are building your hand with characters that have special abilities in order to gain the most influence. Each color is a house. Red is like considered the lowest, and then gold, of course, you get the most points for. They're the most prestigious, but each one has their own special abilities. So you're just trying to play the right cards with the right abilities to create chain effects, all kinds of good stuff. So if you're playing as a family or with your friends, you're gonna have a great time. There's plenty of interaction. It's not a take that kind of game, other than someone may take the card that you want, or occasionally you can place cards that let you interfere with someone else's hand, but I wouldn't call it a take that game at all. It's interactive. The solo mode, what's cool is it is Atoma Factory, so it has its own little solo learning rules booklet, and it's kind of like an intro to more complex AIs, all right? So you have to spend some time learning this AI. It has its own deck that you're going to read across to figure out. If that's not for you, this is not the game for you. However, this is a great intro for things like Wingspan or something like Scythe, where things get really out of control and you've really got to learn that AI. I think it's what I would call a gateway to complex AI opponents that you can see in heavier games. Beautiful, check it out. And if you've been watching my channel, you know I love Wingspan. I love Wingspan. It's available at all your big box stores. It's available at every game store, I'm certain. Well, most game stores. And it's 1 to 5 players, ages 10 and up, 40 to 70 minutes. It's a beautiful nature-themed game where you are placing birds in a habitat from waters to field to the trees, and they're laying eggs, which then gives you more birds and more bird abilities. Some of the birds are predators, some of the birds are, it's all just beautiful. And all of the details in the artwork are actually quite accurate, so you get little facts about the birds. I never cared about birds in the slightest. I thought board games plus birds, what a boring idea. This game's beautiful. I love it. MSRP, or retail, I'm sorry, is going to be around $60. All right, so this is a pricier one. And if you do enjoy this, there are plenty of other expansions. There's the European, there's the Oceania, and there's another expansion coming out soon. I don't know where it is. South America, Africa, I'm not sure. But looking forward to it. Wingspan, there is some interactivity. This is, if you are playing with other family members, you are basically playing a solitaire game with 4 people with minimal interactivity in the center. All right, so you do gain benefits. You have certain birds that benefit from what other players do. So there is interactivity. I just want you to know it's not a lot of interactivity. So if you like a calmer game where you can still benefit from others' actions and interfere a little bit, then this is for you. This is Atoma Factory, which means you're gonna have to learn your AI opponent. You're gonna have to read it. You're gonna have an AI deck where you're reading those cards. I would say it's just slightly more complex than Red Rising, just 1 step up more. So if you're overwhelmed with starting solo, don't start with this. If you've played 1 or 2 solo games and you're really into it, you're okay with learning how an AI opponent works, check it out. I love it. And last but by no means least, we have Everdell. What a beautiful, adorable game, Redwall type artwork. It is 1 to 4 players by Starling Games. I don't have any other games by Starling Games, so I need to look out for them more because what a nice little work of art. I want to tell you ahead of time though, this game lends itself to what we call analysis paralysis, where you have so many choices that someone can become overwhelmed and just get paralyzed with analyzing all of their moves. But what's it about? You've got this beautiful wildlife village, and each one of you is creating your own little village by drawing cards, and those cards have abilities. You have a limit to how many cards you can have. I think it's 15, maybe it's 12. Pretty sure it was 15, at least in the solo game. Same with multiplayer, I'm certain of that. All right, anyway. So you are building up your own village with its own abilities while collecting resources from a center play area. And of course you have, some people call the tree a gimmick. And okay, fair, it's a gimmick. I like gimmicks. You're gonna find, I'm not afraid of gimmicks. Look, I love heavy games, I love them. And I love gimmicks too, because you know what? They set an atmosphere, and I like that atmosphere. It took me, I clocked it, for me to punch board, to take the tree out of the punch board and assemble it for my first time, it took me 34 seconds. That's fine, oh my goodness. But if you don't want to set up the tree, you don't have to. But for the atmosphere, 30 seconds of my life to look at something really cool, I'm fine with that. And then 30 seconds to break it down. Maybe 40 if you're trying to be super careful, but it's just not bad. It's what, 4 pieces? So if that's not important and you don't like that kind of thing, this won't be for you. Retail, I think I already said, is around $60. If I didn't say, bam, there you go. The solo mode, you are not going against an AI opponent. It's more similar to Honeybuzz, where they are just interfering with your play. So it is, at its core, a beat your own score mechanic, but there's enough variability that I don't think you'll really notice it. So I really enjoyed it. Well-designed solo mode, expansions galore. There's, I haven't played the expansions yet. Pearlbrook, such and such and such. Belfair, I think, is the other one, and then there was like a deluxe Kickstart. There's so much stuff. If you just get the base game, you've got a great family game. But do know, don't start with this one, okay? Pick something simpler to introduce to your family, and none of these are gateway games. Let me make that clear. I would not call any of these gateway games. They are family games, not gateway games. We'll get to gateway games in another episode. Alright, if this was helpful, please be sure to give me that like. I'm going to send you to the next video I made just for you. I love y'all. I'll see you next time.